Hi everyone, it's Tatenda. Welcome back to another Sunday school lesson. I hope that you've got your pen and paper ready because it is time to do some drawing. So first we need to split the page up into 6 boxes, making sure to leave space at the top to write your name, the date and the title. Today we're going to be continuing in our theme of faith. So we're going to be learning about David and Goliath. So name, the title is David and Goliath. Underline it. My handwriting's not very straight, but oh well. And the date today is the 21st of March, 2021. 2021. 21/03/21. Okay. So the story of David and Goliath is a really long story in the Bible, so we're not going to read all of it, but if you want to read it, it's in 1 Samuel. I think it starts in chapter 17. Yeah, it's 1 Samuel chapter 17 and 18. So yeah, but we're not going to read it. We're just going to draw out the most important bits of it. So, in keeping with our theme about faith, today we're going to be learning about David's faith. So, David is one of the sons of a man called Jesse. He's Jesse's youngest son. And all of David's older brothers, he's got 7 older brothers. David's older brothers had gone to the army to fight in a war against the Philistines. But David, because he was the youngest, he stayed at home with his dad. So there was this giant that was a Philistine, and his name was Goliath. And Goliath was really scary, really strong, and he said to the people, to the Israelites, that just one person should go and fight Goliath, and whoever wins, their country wins. So instead of everybody fighting, just Goliath and one other person are going to fight, and whoever wins, if Goliath wins, then the Israelites become the Philistine slaves, and if the Israelite wins, then all of the Philistines become the slaves. But Goliath is a giant, so everybody was too afraid to fight him. Not a single person wanted to fight him. So David, he was told by his dad to go and take food to his brothers who were out on the front lines in the army. And when David got there, he wanted to fight Goliath. Everyone was like, "What? How are you going to fight him? He's twice your size. How are you going to do that?" And they were all just not believing him. They didn't think it was possible. But David had faith. He said that he's going to do it with his God. And he prayed to God, and he got 3 smooth stones. He got a slingshot, and 5 smooth stones. He got a slingshot, and he threw just 1 stone at Goliath, and it hit him in the head, right between his eyes, and Goliath died straight away. And so David, even though he was small, way smaller than Goliath, because he had faith in God, he managed to win. He did something that none of the other soldiers could do. Trained soldiers, they couldn't do it, but he could, and so the Israelites won the war. So we're going to draw out that story. So let's go. We're going to start with drawing Goliath. So Goliath is, the Bible says that he was over 9 feet tall. So we're going to draw him out to be a very, very tall man. Okay, you can take up like the whole page. Gonna have a helmet on because he's a soldier. What does helmets look like back then? I don't know. I don't know how to draw a helmet. Okay. What if like covered is like that? That's a helmet, okay. It's a terrible helmet. I'm gonna get rid of my helmet. Okay, that's Goliath. Okay. And he says, choose one man to come down here and fight me. If he kills me, then we will be your slaves. But if I kill him, you will be our slaves. I defy the armies of Israel today. Send me a man who will fight me. So we're just going to write, send me a man who will fight me. I'm going to move Goliath a little bit, because my writing's too big. Send me a man who will fight me. So 9 feet tall, that is very, very tall. I am like 5'4". So if you think 9 feet tall, that's like almost double my height, which is crazy tall. It's crazy tall. So everyone was really afraid of him. So next we're going to draw out David, who is the youngest of 8 boys. So I'm going to draw a little David on this side. Okay, and his dad told him to take some food to his brothers. So draw his dad, Jesse. Okay, so for 40 days, every day and every night, every morning and every night, Goliath would walk around in front of the Israelite army just mocking them, and for 40 days and 40 nights, no one went to fight him. So David brought a basket with roasted grain and 10 loaves of bread and 10 cuts of cheese as well. So he brought bread and he brought cheese and he brought grain. So grains are like rice or like couscous, that sort of thing would be grains. Yep. So I'm going to draw a basket with some stuff in it as well. We draw a basket like that. Need a handle draw some bread in there. That's good food, okay? So yeah, this was 1 Samuel 17 verse 17. And the first box was a lot of verses all in one box, really. 1 Samuel 17 verses 1 to 10. Okay. On to the third box. So in the third box, David leaves the sheep, and because he's a shepherd, he leaves the sheep and he goes to the camp. And David decides that he wants to fight them. So David asked the soldiers, "What will a man get for killing this Philistine and ending his defiance of Israel? Who is this pagan Philistine anyway, that he is allowed to defy the armies of the living God?" So the reward for killing him was a lot of money, but David wants to do it. So David goes to the king and he says, "Don't worry about this Philistine, I'll go fight him." And to King Saul. And King Saul said, "Don't be ridiculous. There's no way that you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy, and he's been a man of war since his youth." But David persisted. "I have been taking care of my father's sheep and goats," he said. "When a lion or a bear comes to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after it with a club and rescue the lamb from its mouth. If the animal turns on me, I catch it by the jaw and club it to death. I have done this to both lions and bears, and I'll do it to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear and will rescue me from this Philistine." "All right, go ahead," he said, "and may the Lord be with you." Okay, so in the third box, we're going to draw this little conversation. Okay, so we're going to draw King Saul. Don't want to filled in head. King Saul. That's a crazy crown I've drawn there. Okay, we're going to draw the second half of the conversation in the next box. So this was Daniel 17 verses 32 and 33. Oh, sorry, did I say Daniel? I meant 1 Samuel. Sorry. 1 Samuel 17 verses 32 to 33. Okay. So in the next box, we're going to continue that conversation. So we're going to just draw King Saul and David again. Okay. My drawing's particularly bad today, guys, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Guess it is what it is. Okay. So, David says, "The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from Goliath." So, we're going to just write out a smaller version. So just, "The Lord will rescue me from Goliath." Lots of exclamation marks because everyone's very passionate about this topic. And so King Saul's like, "Okay, that sounds great to me. If God says you can do it, then if God's going to be with you, then it's fine." So King Saul finally consented. "All right, go ahead," he said, "and may the Lord be with you." So then I write, "All right, go ahead. May the Lord be with you." It's a very strange shaped speech bubble, but oh well, it's fine. This was 1 Samuel 17 verses 34 to 37. Yeah. Okay. So, we're gonna draw David again. So after this, King Saul gave David his own armor, a bronze helmet and a coat of mail. David put it on, strapped the sword over it, and took a step or two to see what it was like, because he had never worn such things before. "I can't go in these," he protested to Saul. "I'm not used to them." So David took them off again. He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into his shepherd's bag. Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistine. So we're going to draw 5 stones. Yeah, so 5 smooth stones, not even like sharp rocks. He was using smooth stones. I'm going to colour mine in grey, but you don't have to colour yours in if you don't want to. Okay, we're going to draw a sling, and we're going to draw a staff as well. So we'll start with a staff. A shepherd's staff, which is kind of just like a stick. And I think I'm going to colour that one in brown. And then we're going to draw a sling. So, if you haven't seen a sling before, it's kind of just like, it's a piece of fabric essentially that you use. You pull it back and then you put something in there, and then when you let go it springs it forwards. So like, I'm sure I've seen you doing it with like rubber bands and bubbles, hair bands. You hold one end and you pull the other end backwards, and you let go, it goes flying across. So with the sling, you put in some stones in there, and when you let go, the sling doesn't move, but the thing inside the sling, that's what flies across the room. So that's what David was using with the stones. So okay, so can you imagine being David right now? Okay, David is a young boy, yeah, and he's going to go and fight a giant. A young boy, just like you or me. Well, I'm not a boy, but you get the idea, yeah? Not an adult, not a parent, not a soldier, but a young boy, and he's going to go and fight Goliath. He's not got any armor on, no weapons, just a slingshot, some stones, and a shepherd's staff. But he's not afraid, because he says that God is going to rescue him and God is going to help him. He has faith. He may be small, he may not have a lot of equipment, and people may think he's going to fail, but it doesn't matter, because he knows that God can do it for him. Which brings us back to what faith means. It is the reality of things we hope for and the evidence of things we cannot see. He hopes that he's going to win, and so he's going to win because God is going to help him to win. Okay, so in the last box we're going to draw the fight and the winning, of course. So Goliath, when he saw David, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up today. When Goliath saw David, he was really rude to him. So this is what he said. Goliath walked out toward David with his shield bearer ahead of him, sneering in contempt at this ruddy-faced boy. So sneering is like, it's just being rude, like mocking him, essentially. And he says, "Am I a dog?" he roared at David, "that you come at me with a stick?" And he cursed David by the names of his gods. "Come over here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and wild animals," Goliath yelled. Isn't that scary? But David replied to the Philistine, "You come to me with sword, spear, javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will conquer you, and I will kill you and cut off your head. And then I will give the dead bodies of your men to the birds and wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. And everyone assembled here will know that the Lord rescues his people, but not with sword and spear. This is the Lord's battle, and he will give you to us." As Goliath moved closer to attack, David quickly ran out to meet him. Reaching into his shepherd's bag and taking out a stone, he hurled it with his sling and hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in, and Goliath stumbled and fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. Then David ran over and pulled Goliath's sword from its sheath. David used it to kill him and cut off his head. Okay? So, not only did David kill him with just a stone, but he then cut off Goliath's head with Goliath's own sword, because God won the victory for him. So we're going to draw Goliath on the ground. To draw him bigger, don't I? He's a giant. And right here. Actually, I'm going to draw that in red. Like blood. He's going to have... That's where the stone hit him. And it sunk into his head, so it went into his brain, guys. Isn't that crazy? And then we're going to draw David. Over here. So that is David. That is Goliath. That's what we're going to write. Today the Lord will conquer you. This is the Lord's battle, and he will give you to us. Okay, so conquer means like defeat. So this was 1 Samuel 17 verses, it's a long one, 41 to 51. 10 verses all in one box. We're doing excellently today, guys. Okay, the 5 small stones. That was verses 38 to 40. Sorry. Okay. And I'm just going to write here that Goliath was killed by one small stone. Okay, and that is the story. So, yeah, the moral of this story basically is that if God is on your side, then it doesn't matter how big the challenges may seem. And especially when we're young, when we're kids, we think that there are a lot of problems that are too big for us and that only adults can solve. But there is so much that you can do, and you shouldn't let anybody think that there's anything that you can't do just because you're small, okay? as long as God is on your side, you can do it. The Lord can rescue you from anything, okay? Absolutely anything, as long as you have faith in him, which David did. And David, who seemed like such a small person, he not only did he kill Goliath, but this David went on to become a king, okay? He became King David. So, with God, anything is possible. So just remember that, guys. Have a lovely week, and I will speak to you all next week. Bye!